the theme of our campaign this year is Better Together. And whoops. I got it. Okay. And part of it is expanding beyond just the monetary part of the stewardship campaign. This is a huge reason why I wanted to be part of the commission this year, but also working on our talents and how our community, we've made it through COVID, we're back together, and how our presence and our connection to each other is an amazing part of our stewardship. You need a little louder over there? Okay, thank you. So with that, okay. Okay. And I'm gonna reduce this. Okay, there we go. I can figure some things out. So today, here's our agenda for today. Welcome, but really focusing on how together, whether the parts of what's personal to us, what is part of our community, and then how we actually are better in the world and being God's love in the world together. We'll talk a little bit more about sharing time and talents, and then of course, the financial piece of this. But let's go ahead and kick it off with an opening prayer.
Let's just take a moment to be together in a spirit of prayer, pause what we're doing, and settle our hearts and minds in this space with one another. Spirit of God, indeed, we are better together. You call us in this time and in this place to be your church together. Oh God, inspire us in this hour as we seek to live into the vision that you have for us, to be your love in the world. God, bless the food that is before us, bless the hands that prepared it, and bless our bodies as we receive it, and as we go forth into this time together as your church. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
So let's see. Trying to figure out how to move this. Okay. There we go. Okay, so the first part of this is better together on a personal level. So part of this is one of the ideas of DCC is what brought us all here. There is something that we all get out of being here, of being in this community. I think Jen said it so beautifully today of what made her fall in love with our church and what made each of us fall in love with our church. So what we'd like to do, do you want to go first? Are you going first or after? Are you going before or after the after? Okay. So one of the first things we'd like to do, you're doing first. Okay. So yeah, well, we're well rehearsed. So what I'd like to do is invite Barb up to give her personal story.
All right, good morning, everybody. So when we were putting this presentation together, I was thinking about myself and what I'm personally getting out of being here at Danville Congregational Church. And I think what most of you know about me, or what some of you know about me, is I'm kind of a workaholic. So it's but actually, when I retired in 2020, I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do with myself? What am I going to do with myself now that I'm not working 80 hours a week? And I feel like this place gives me a chance to really share the things that I love, the things that I feel like, if I dare say, are the things that I think into the organization. And I love children. Preschool. I love friendship, and I have all these friends that I have a love of God, and I have a way to express that and share that with other people who feel the same way as me. And it has given me a sense of purpose, a sense of joy in the world. And I know that most of you feel the same way. And so that's kind of cool to be together with people who feel that same way as I do about the work that we do at this church. And just look around at all of the tables, and I have personal connections with each one of you in different ways. We shared our own work together. We shared some teamful things together. We just love being with each other. And you know, Todd's sermon was beautiful today about how we all are in unity around being at this church and putting ourselves together for the betterment of us all and for the world. So I'm going to give this mic back to Nicole. I'm going to have all of you do an activity where you think about how this church has benefited you on a personal level. Not what we do for, the greater out there, but like what do you get out of it?
Thank you, Barb. So next, what we're going to do is what we call the Think, Pair, and Share. And the first is for each of you to think about the impact that DCC has had for you personally. And what have you experienced? How has it impacted your growth? So just maybe take 30 seconds and just think about kind of what has drawn you and kept you here and how it's been part of your life. There's also Post-it notes on the table if you'd like to jot anything down, because we will be actually posting all of these against the wall. So if you'd like to go ahead and jot that down. Then once you've thought about it, if you can turn to the person next to you and share your response to the prompt. So John,
Really sorry.
yes.
And I've been about you.
Coming up on maybe 20 years, I actually was originally friends with Joyce. And then through Joyce, I got to meet Kira, Cheetah, and Manahar. Through kind of knowing that, I decided that this was my favorite place. Very similar to Jennifer's place. I was raised Lutheran, but just wasn't. So, Dan was, he was raised Lutheran, and then I think they went to the Methodist church. He's from Kansas. And, yeah, I mean, he, remembers singing hymns in German. Another couple of seconds. And then. No, they both live on the East Coast. So. Yeah, but I mean, they went to school out there. It's not forever, but they're really. If you haven't already, go ahead and share among your tables, but there's definitely enough good conversation going on. Oh, people got a reminder to get theirs, to get their packets. So if somebody at each table can go ahead and copy down some of the common threads and the things that you've brought. Again, if somebody from each table can copy down some of the common threads in your discussion or what brought you here and put them down on the Post-its. And then maybe somebody from each table go ahead and put the your Post-its up on the wall under the personal section. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna move on. Again, if you can take your Post-its with the common threads and go put them over there in the personal Better Together items. If you haven't already, please go ahead and pick up your packets over here under the clock. If you didn't grab those when you came in. And I will pass this on to Kira for our next section.
Oh, I guess I have to stand here. Oh, because of Zoom.
Yes.
I got it. I like wandering around. People might know that about me. But anyway, I think you're going to get a feel for where we're going. We really want you to share how you feel about the church and what really brings you alive. And so I'm here to lead Better Together, bet you've heard that before, our community. So how are we better together as a community? And Kim is going to talk to us a little bit about her experience of Better Together as a community. Yeah, just so Zoom can see.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so 2 years ago, the Community Life Commissioner spot was open and I thought about it, and it was one of those times when I got a little nudge somehow that that was what I needed to be doing. And not that I am a great cook at all, but there were all these people who wanted to do these things, and I said I would be the one to coordinate them. And it has been a great experience. This Community Life Commission is an amazing team of people, and I know many of you have participated. But anytime there was an ask for anything, everyone said, yes, I will be there, I will do that, I will bring that. They have set up these tables so many times. We're getting really good at it. I think we had a record time this morning. And just really worked together so nicely as a group. And it has been such a blessing for me to be able to be a part of that team. And we just wanted to remind you of a few of the things that have happened this last year that you might have participated in. Definitely one of our things we wanted to do was just provide opportunities for people to have fun and be together in community and connect. We partnered with Michael and Jen at the beginning of the year for the back to school carnival. We did the Halloween dance party. We worked with the pastors to put together the Agape Feast for Maundy, Thursday. Many of our commission members have hosted events at their homes, TGIF, the visitor lunch, the egg hunt, the women's retreat. And we had our special Christmas lunch with our cookie exchange that so many of you brought beautiful cookies, and then we packed them up and shared them with some of our friends who couldn't be here. We brought back the pancake breakfast this year, which I think everyone enjoyed, and we had our fantastic pancake flippers in the kitchen. And then that baby shower last Sunday with all that really special food. Did you try the bacon? And amongst all of these things, yes, there was food, and yes, we do like to eat together, and Eric will remember that about us, he said. But there were opportunities for us to connect and to get to know each other better and to be in community, and it's just been really a privilege to be a part of that, and I know there will be more of that coming up. So I think that's it.
I have to add that it's a very fun commission to be on. So in the future, you might want to be on the Community Life Commission, because I was doing dishes next to Nan and we had an incredible time talking as we were doing dishes last week. So you get to know people much better when you're on a team with them. Now, I wasn't supposed to say that necessarily, because I'm supposed to start our next opportunity for you to chit chat with your neighbor. And how does being together at DCC help our church community? What are some examples of this that you are part of that has made a difference in your life and that you see the difference within the church? So turn to 2 or 3 people at your table and talk about something you have experienced from the community that makes it special. Okay, I know that you could continue to have this discussion for another half an hour, right? But we do have a promise to keep this under control and let you leave sometime this afternoon. So please write down something on your card so that we can put this together and send it out to you of what people find important in being together as community. And oh, I forgot. Next, we're going to do world. And Barb is going to take that over.
All right. So beyond the walls of our church,
we also serve the wider world, our community in a variety of ways. And Jen mentioned so many of them this morning when she was talking about all of our various outreach efforts. So I obviously asked Doug Leach, who knows everyone everywhere in Contra Costa County and beyond, to be our speaker for how DCC shares our love and how we come together for our world.
Thanks, Bob. So how is DCC better in the world? I'm happy to announce that DCC people gave over $14,000 in our Black Wealth Builders Fund offering this past February. Together with the almost $18,000 we raised in our special Lenten offering 3 years ago for the same fund, that's enough for 2 zero-interest loans to Black first-time home buyers. In addition to the direct help to these 2 families, we are joining other churches in making a faith-based statement about the need for African Americans. Our young people on the streets of San Francisco, items donated by, and when a child in a low-income back-to-school backpack filled with and when homeless people receive woolen hats and scarves with all the things
So we're gonna try that. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, this is an opportune time to readjust our staffing model. We, through a lot of deliberation and examination of the numbers and everything, we felt that the church could fairly easily support either 1.5 or 1.6 FTE as far as a pastoral staff, as opposed to the 2 people that we've supported for a number of years now. And as I said, this is an opportune time to make that change since we are indeed losing a pastor. So in making that change, Pastor Todd has very graciously agreed to be our interim acting senior pastor. He is going to fill the void as we move from the 2-pastor model to something less than the 2-pastor model. So on your budget, you'll see that as the acting senior pastor. That's the money we set aside to cover that period when Todd is our acting senior pastor. And then we came up with a scenario of, okay, we will then choose a settled senior pastor. It could be Todd, it could be someone else, but we will choose a settled senior pastor. And their budget, their costs are displayed on the next line as settled senior pastor. It's kind of hard to tell, but, and because you're looking at partial year numbers here, when you're looking at these 2 different positions. But the settled senior pastor, if you annualize that amount, it equates to a total compensation package of about $124,000, which we felt was a competitive package so that we were indeed competitive in the market for pastors. And then you'll notice the line below that, contingent ministerial support. This is a real nebulous line. We're not sure how we're going to go forward from here. We want to support our acting senior pastor. We want to support our settled senior pastor. And we're not sure what they're going to need to move forward in their positions. So that's why we have this line, contingent ministerial support. It can be anything. We can bring in another part-time pastor. We can bring in contract employees to handle youth and children, whatever the need may be. There's money set aside in here to cover a search committee and the search effort if we're going out looking for pastors outside the area. But like I said, it's a very nebulous package that we can form to meet our needs, whatever those might be. So that's sort of the pastoral compensation piece of the budget, which is a big piece of the budget, as you can see from the percentages. The staff salaries, I will say everybody on staff is getting a raise this year, which is good. We're all facing higher costs and things, so all the staff members are getting a raise. For the commissions, I think most of the commissions receive pretty much the budgets they requested. A few exceptions where we made adjustments, but for the most part, commissions got what they wanted this year. And then one final thing I just need to bring to your attention on the expense side. We had an increase in our mortgage loan rate. I don't know how many of you are aware, but we had an ARM loan with Cornerstone Mortgage. And our interest rate on that ARM loan, we reached the 5-year period when rates reset. The interest rate went from let me get it right. It went from 4.625% to 6.625%. There is a 2-year cap on the increase. A 2% cap, sorry. Thank you. So yes, a 2% cap on the increase. That increased our mortgage payment by a little less than $4,000 a month because we do have a sizable loan sitting out there. So that did have a serious impact on our expenses. And then moving up to the income side, as I mentioned earlier, Dayspring has indeed agreed to help support us in this endeavor. They are increasing their allocation to the church by nearly $2,500 a month, which is significant. That is very significant. And as I said, they are having to raise their rates too to help support us, and yet still at the same time keep them low enough so that they're competitive in their marketplace. We made some adjustments to things like plate collections and building usage to try to more right-size them to what we think is a more reasonable number for the new year. And then, of course, the one that probably is most important to you is the commitments. To make this all work and come out as a balanced budget, we need to ask you for a 7% increase in your commitment. And that will help us tie this all up and make it work for the new year. I don't know that I have anything else to say on this unless there are specific questions. Or yes, Nicole.
How long is this current interest rate going to hold?
It will hold for another 5 years. Yes, the rate adjusted on April 1st, and it will hold for another 5 years. So it's a 5-year arm. Yes, Dave.
Is it true that some of the expenses that we see here for next year are actually putting money into reserves? That the past this year and maybe the year before, we were taking money out of reserves. In this upcoming year, are we going to be funding a little more? Is that what we, like, say,
Yes.
building grounds?
Yes. Thank you, Dave, for that question. I should have mentioned that. Yes, we are trying to put more money in reserves. Our long-term maintenance reserve, we used money from that reserve to help paint the campus this year. Our goal with this budget is to set aside an additional $15,000 in long-term maintenance. So that's very important. We are also in this budget, if everything works out, we are planning on setting aside money for Todd's sabbatical. Todd is coming up to the point in time where he is due a sabbatical. And that will be a draw on our resources. And so we're trying to set aside a little money for that. I must mention though, also, Todd has applied for a grant that if it comes through, will indeed fund our portion of his sabbatical costs as far as finding a replacement to fill in while he is absent. So he's doing everything he can do to help us. And at the same time, like Dave asked, we are trying to build our reserves to better prepare us for the future and what may come up. Anything else? Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Trish.
Most of us would really rather never have. Thank you so much
Thank you, Trish. Thank you for those very kind comments. I do have to admit, I am not the Lone Ranger out here. There are a lot of people that make this happen. The moderator team, the finance team, council, there has been a lot of input. Our pastors, they all provided input that give us this product that you see in front of you. So thank you to all of them. They are also the backbone of this. Okay, I think I'm turning it over to my wife.
So I realize I am the one that stands between us meeting the time we're going to be out of here and getting out of here. So I will make this fairly brief, at least as brief as much as I can, which is kind of a struggle. I think most of you have already your packets in front of your envelopes. If you don't, then I would ask that you make sure you grab it before you leave. In part of our intent to try to save monies going forward, and with increasing postal costs, we would like to not mail too many, but for all of those who are on Zoom, your packets will go in the mail Monday, so please keep an eye out for them. There's kind of the usual fare in your envelopes. It was Kira, no, it wasn't. It was Nicole and Joyce who mentioned there is the time and talent form. So please take your time to look at that. It may spur you on a little bit to go, oh, I didn't know we did that, and I bet I can do it. So please consider that. As you're going through your envelope, you will see that you still have the usual commitment card. Some of us old Methodists refer to them as pledge cards, but there was a valiant treasurer before me named Gary Dowell who corrected me on more than one occasion. Heidi, those are commitments. They're not pledges. We're not Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts anymore. So these are commitment cards. And they have the information in the top of them. If you did pledge, Gary just bonked me. If you do commit, if you committed this past year, it does tell you how far you are in your commitment from last year. Please recognize those are numbers only as of March 31st. So you still have time. Please know there are no penalties. Just give as you can. And then we've given you the numbers of the 7%, which is our goal. Which is significantly less than last year's 30-odd%. But I have to tell you, you all stepped up in quite the way last year. The budget that Steve just went through is the preliminary budget. Council and finance team will make adjustments to that budget once the pledges, the commitments all get in. So please bear that in mind. The sooner you can be prayerful about your considerations, and the sooner you can turn those in, the time you buy time for finance and council to come to you at the annual meeting, the 9th of June, no, the 9th of June. when we'll kind of do this all again and you'll meet the new leadership team and all of that. So the one thing I do want to draw your attention to on the commitment form is, and I'm fumbling for it, the authorization form that allows you to do the automatic monthly or annual or semi-annual payment. We have been able to add, and it's been highlighted on everyone's copy, an opportunity to cover the 2.5% processing fee, which we as a church have been paying on any of those auto payments that come from your credit card. I know many people use that to get their points for flying and doing all of that. And if you look on the budget, there's a pretty good size number for bank fees, which is included in this. And it's 4 figures. It's, you know, a couple $1,000s a year that the church has been covering. We've been able to update our system to give you the opportunity to cover those. It's also now on the form when you go online, when you go through the church's website. You can also check that there. If you're using the text to give, that option is on there as well. So we would just ask that you consider that as well. The budget is in there. And lastly, this is a mess up here, golly. The last page is the giving pyramid and the suggested percentages based on your household income. That's kind of, ooh, that was pretty good. That's kind of all I have to say about your packets. I would just mostly encourage you to turn those in as soon as possible. And we as a church family are more than grateful for everything you do. From my perspective, it's all about the timing, you know, do what you want to do, but I want to fill in my spreadsheet. I happen to be a wife of 44 years to an accountant, and they really love their spreadsheets. So the sooner I can fill those numbers in, the better it is. And I would echo Steve's thank you to our council, to our pastors, to our finance team, who in the last month have probably met more than we did the whole previous 6 months as we've, you know, we're going down a road and then someone said, oh, I think I want to do something different with my life for a little while. Oops, let's start all over. Hey, Pastor Eric, which we did. And I think this group really put their hearts and souls into this budget to say, now's the time. You know, none of us ever wanted to say, oh, we can't afford 2 pastors, but we can't live without 2 pastors. And I think we are all being fiscally responsible to take this opportunity to right size ourselves and bringing new energy in. So I thank you for all that you've done, and especially our 2 moderators who, if you think Steve and I put a lot of time in, generally they're right with us, shoulder to shoulder, side to side, feeding us, bringing us beverages, doing whatever it takes to get numbers of people motivated. So I thank you, and I'm done.
So have you heard the words better together? Enough? No. Well, I didn't get to talk about my feelings about Better Together and what I have done at this church, but I have to say, Heidi just thanked the moderator team and the moderators, and we have spent a lot of time. Some of the people that know, it's been pretty incredible how much time the last 2-3 months have been. But I'd like to say that time's been incredible. It's amazing when you're on a team that is looking and working towards the same thing, that care about each other, that trust each other. And I think Todd talked about it in his sermon. It's about unity. And when we're working together and going in the same direction, it can be a lot of time. And sometimes you're wondering why you signed up again. But most of the time, you are just there with your friends, trying to accomplish something. And I look around this room and I see that in all of you. I'm amazed. I've spent a lot of time at the church in the last 2 years, and I can't believe how many of you are here all the time. And how many different small committees there are that I didn't even know exist, that are what keep this church together. So I say thanks to all of us. We've created an incredible sacred community. And I think that's why we're all here, as we care to. So I want to open it up to any questions or comments that people have. Hey, Nancy.
Just a gratitude to Kira and Barb for incredible leadership and
I guess what I call that is mutual admiration. So I admire you and you admire me. How great is that? So I get to do the closing prayer, which for me, unlike Eric and Todd, is always very scary, but here we go. Sacred Mother, Father, we are grateful for this opportunity to reflect on the role of the church in our lives, both individually and collectively, and its impact on the wider world. We are thankful for the vibrant and dedicated community that surrounds us, providing us a sanctuary where we can combine our unique talents, times, resources towards the realization of our shared vision, to love God, to love each other, and to do God's work in the world. This sacred space serves as a gathering point for our joys, our sorrows, and our dreams for the future. As we embark on new beginnings, a new year, a fresh budget, and a transition of our senior pastor, we humbly invite your presence of your spirit for guidance, support, and wisdom. Grant us the clarity and strength to fulfill our mission of love and service in the world, and may our collective efforts foster a flourishing future for all. We offer prayers for each member of this community, for our time together, and may the divine spirit illuminate our path towards living our vision and creating a world filled with compassion and abundance. We truly are better together. Amen.